All right, so we're seeing interest rates are high and the pre-construction market is hot. Why? Because a lot of people are considering purchasing units that are in the pre-construction phase because they're hoping for the next 2-3 years down the line, they can actually secure a lower interest mortgage and get into their property, or maybe just sell it. So there's a couple of things I want to go over to make sure that you are protected if you are considering pre-construction. We're going to go over several things like including the different layouts that you might be considering, how to select the actual unit itself. We're going to have a conversation about what to look for in terms of builder incentives, interim occupancy and such, what the amenities offer, what to look for in maintenance fees. So it's going to be quite a bit of stuff we're going to go over, so bear with us here. Okay. Number one, let's just talk about the basics. Selecting the unit. It's not just you walk in, you like the layout, and that's it. Ask yourself, envision where this building is. If it's in Etobicoke, then you want preferably southeast facing view. If it's, let's say, in Scarborough, you want southwest facing view. This will give you beautiful views of downtown. Why both are south is, south views tend to give you more sunlight throughout the day. So you really want to be selecting based on whether you care about sunrise, sunsets, view, unobstructed, obstructed, lake view, city view, whatever it might be. So really picture, envision what that looks like for the specific unit you're looking for. Now, I know when you are selecting pre-construction, it is very challenging because of sometimes the allocation, what your agent or your team's allocation, what they have available might not be the view that you're looking for, but at least you'll have an idea. Second thing I wanted to talk about while we're talking about views is you want to look at how many buildings are being built in that project, in that complex, or in that area. And the reason I say that is, sadly, I've seen folks that went and bought units in a specific building, and part of the master plan is that there's 2 or 3 other buildings being built right away. So to me, that is, it's going to be very difficult. Even if you're intending to sell the unit, who's to say by the time you're ready to sell that they haven't started construction on the other units, and people that are coming to buy the unit that you're trying to now sell and flip, they're going to see that. And it's going to be a lot harder to sell a unit where, literally right in front of your balcony, there's, a 20-story or 30-story tower coming up. So have that understanding, talk to the developers, talk to your agents, explain, see what is the vision for that area, see what the master plan is, and see how the units that you're selecting, that they don't fall basically in an obstructed area. And if they do, that could be fine, but just factor that into your pricing model, okay? Let's jump into it right now. In terms of the actual building, of course, you hear it always in all these videos is pick the right developer, make sure you pick somebody that is actually going to go through with the project. A lot of times you'll see a lot of smaller developers are coming in and they're giving you really attractive pricing option, really attractive deposit structure, and we'll go over that in another video, but they don't actually go through with the actual project. And what happens then is you've put your deposit, could be 50,000, could be even more, and you've let it sit with the developer for a year, and after a year and a half, the project doesn't go through. There are clauses there that stipulate you'll get your money back, but it hasn't really gained any money, it hasn't really gained any value. And really, the money comes after the construction is finished and you can able to assign the unit or actually sell the unit. So just keep that in mind. Builders also will give you, if you pick a very reputable builder, you might be able to get an understanding how previous projects were completed, the quality of their workmanship, and how their maintenance fee structures are. The reason I say that is if the condo is built with very good economics in mind, you might see a more preferable option in terms of maintenance fees. Some of the bigger players, Center Court, you'll see also Tridel obviously is really, really high quality buildings, Danielle's, and so on and so forth. But those are some that are just, I'm throwing off the table right now that are very, very reputable. You can bet that if they're going to start the project, if they start the presentation of, this construction or the vision, that they're going to go through with the project and actually finish it. And, and you probably will get closer timelines to completion. That's another big one too, that sometimes they do go through the project, but it's just a year or two behind. And that could really throw off, what your expectations are in your plan, right, to move in or not to move in. Now, take a look at, I don't want to dive into it too much because this is on its own could be a full video, which is basically look at all of the details of fine print. Please don't get too excited that you got the allocation, you got the unit, you got secured in the hot market, and then you just want to sign. You do have a 10-day period, a cooling off period. You don't want to go in, sign just to walk away in the cooling off period. You ideally want to understand what you're getting yourself into. So take a look at the deposit structure, of course, but take a look at the development charges. They can run up $20,000, $25,000. So you want to make sure they're capped, what that number is, and put that in your financial, right, in your spreadsheet that you're using when you're doing your pro forma calculations to see, is it worth it, right? The development charges, what the expected maintenance fees costs are. There's a project recently that I was working on that I'm really excited about, and I found out that the maintenance fees are close to 80 cents per square foot. That put a red flag for me that I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? Why is it so expensive? So I'm still trying to dig in and figure out the details why, but they might have such top line amenities that they're offering. They might be offering multiple concierge services. They might even offer front door service. They might offer, actual, driving and, baggage help and all that stuff. They have indoor pool, outdoor pool, 20 plus courts and all that stuff. So when you have, everything has a cost, right? So if your amenities are super top notch, you can justify paying 80, 90 cents, even $1 per square foot, so depending on the projects, right? So you definitely have to dig in and see where is these costs coming from. One more thing here that I want to talk about, and it's very important if you're considering pre-construction in general, is HST. Yeah, taxes. So it is mandated now that no matter what, you buy you buy a pre-construction condo in Ontario, if you don't live in it for 1 year, you will pay HST. That throws all the numbers off. You will not get an HST rebate. So you want to make sure you take a look at that, because that could easily be, you do get a rebate of $24,000, but that is null and void if you don't actually stay in that unit, or if you choose to assign the unit. So you want to make sure you're not purchasing something like that, just simply trying to assign it. Talk to your accountant on that, talk to your realtor on that, to make sure that, if your goal is to buy it, in the sense of speculation, hoping that it'll increase in 2-3 years, just before you close, before the occupancy date comes in, that you want to sell it, that it might not actually be feasible option. So you want to make sure that you run your numbers carefully, because HST is coming right at you. With that said, one interesting thing about pre-construction is if you're driving around and you're seeing a project being built, one thing a lot of people don't realize is if they're already breaking ground, that they already sold 60 to 70% of units. So if you're considering pre-construction, there is basically no reason to not seek an agent. At least see what they have to say. Let them share their insight on it. You can still do your buyer due diligence. There's nothing wrong with that. I definitely always recommend that, regardless of who you work with. But the idea here is the agents are not getting paid by you. They're getting paid by the developer, or if they're just friendly. And sometimes some projects don't even have any kind of payment structure, like any commission. That they're just there to support you, to build your network, or at least build that relationship with you. So I always tell people, if you're driving and you're trying to buy a unit that's already broken ground, and you see the crane and all that stuff, they've already sold 60, 70% of the units. So you might not have ideal floor plans left, or they might be already marked up. So the numbers might not be as favorable. So work with an agent, especially folks like, we work with pre-construction. We have different agents that I like to work with and partner with that specialize in pre-construction, because all they do is pre-construction. And this way we can get very, very early access to units. And if you have any questions about pre-construction or generally, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to cover it. And have a good one. Thank you for watching. Cheers.